From the House of Sungo, this is Gaytopix, the only gay source for hot topics and gay news. Good afternoon, or good morning, I should say. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. I can't sleep. I'm in a lot of pain. My eye is extremely painful and red. I've aged dramatically in the last couple weeks. I look my age now, and for years I valued my youth. For years I valued my beauty. For years I took good care of my skin and body and ate right and did the right things and exercised 4 hours a day and got 8 hours full of sleep every single night. And for what? For not one person to appreciate what I had accomplished or what I was as a person. To me, I felt like I was wasting too much time in trying to perfect something that somebody else was making a decision on or wanted me to be. And I tried harder and harder and harder, like I do in everything I try to accomplish and succeed in doing. But like everything I succeed in doing, I failed. And I was not cute enough or sexy enough or beautiful enough for anyone to pay attention to me. Who's going to pay attention to me now with one eye? My face is sagging. You can actually see, like, my eyebrow here is up and this one is down. So my face is now sagging. Wrinkles are starting to form. My age is gone. My youth is gone. My beauty is gone. Everything is gone. I've lost so much. So much. And yet I'm still here by myself. What is God's purpose? What is His plan? Is it made for me to go through this torture every single day of my life? Abuse and neglect and... I started this series, Mylife, as a child because, again, this is my life, and you all need to know what happened to me to make me this way and what shaped me to be the person I am today. And that was abuse. People taking advantage of my kindness. People taking advantage of me for their own gains. People ignoring me. People hating me. Belittling me. Berating me. Targeting me because of my sexual orientation. Hating me because of my sexual orientation. A simple hello can go a long way. Emoji can go a long way. I'm blind now, and I'm trying to come to terms with this in two perspectives and outlooks. One is that I'm dying. I've seen death firsthand. I was in the war, and 2 of them, and I've seen what death looks like. I see when death is coming. I know when death is coming. I seen it in my dog. I seen it in people when I used to volunteer at the nursing home. I see it in people on the street who are homeless and now labeled mentally unstable, which is a stigma all in itself because not everybody homeless has a mental illness. Not everybody who bashes somebody in the head with a hammer has a mental illness. It's kind of like some people used to say being a pedophile was being gay. They're two completely different things. Being gay, you like men. There are men who like men and sleep with men. A pedophile sleeps with innocent children, robbing them of their childhood memories and youth. A big difference. Like that new law in Florida, don't say gay or something to that nature. Again, I cannot see, so I'm only listening. And it's Governor Ron DeSantis enacted a new law that you cannot say anything gay related in a public school. Nowadays, it's okay to come out the closet and identify with what you want to identify as. When I was growing up, that was not accepted. In fact, it's one of the reasons why I believe I did not get into the NYPD as a police officer to serve this great city after serving my country. How unheard of is that? I served my country for 10 years and then I wanted to serve my city and I could not. That doesn't make any sense to me, and to this day it doesn't. But when they found out I was gay, things changed and I had to wait longer for results of my exams and tests and things like that, and eventually I knew it wasn't going to happen. Especially when I got that letter in the mail saying that my application was exhausted. I had to renew my application every 3 years, and the process took 10, 11, 12. And I was still waiting. And even if they were to accept me, I would have been too old, even with my credits. I can only imagine what my life would be like if I was a cop. I would not be in this condition or in this state of mind because I would have a family. I would have a partner. I have people who accept me. But alas, that has not happened, and I'm here. In fact, I've had many jobs, and I've applied to many jobs, and I haven't succeeded in any of them. Do you know I worked at every single gym as a trainer? I was a master trainer at New York Sports Club um, after starting from the locker room. So I grew from the locker room to a membership consultant, to the front desk, to assistant GM, to a fitness manager, to a personal trainer, then fitness manager, and then master trainer. And then I was personal trainer at other gyms. I even worked for David Barton. I was his assistant. Well, at least one of them. And I remember sponsoring some some guy that I met who I thought was really attractive, and he worked in a dress shop where they would take like little trinkets of jewelry that they made and hike up the prices. And because the store was in Soho, people would buy a 50-cent chain for like $50 or $75 or $100 even. I'm like, it just took you 2 minutes to make that, and you're selling it for $100. So it really impressed me, and I liked our energy together. Um, Sexually, it was good, but I didn't like the fact that he was addicted to crystal meth. And I wanted to know more about that drug, so I sponsored him. And when I sponsored him, I went to the meetings, and in the meetings, all of, well, I'm not going to say all, because there was only 10 of us, but about 8 David Barton employees in the corporate office in which I worked as his assistant were in those meetings. Every one of them. And do you know something? They still had their jobs. And I was fired because we were moving the location. The original location was on 16th Street, and we were moving the location from 16th Street to the Boys and Girls Club, the old YMCA on 23rd Street, which is now a Crunch gym because he sold it to Crunch. But he moved there, and you know how when you're in the gym, there's rubber on the floor, so when you drop the weight, it doesn't, make a noise because it's rubber. It's about maybe 2 inches, 3 inches thick, and maybe about 8 by 20 inches. It was huge. It was a floor panel essentially, and they were stacked up as high as I am, and I'm 6'1". And on this particular day, it was so hot. We were in the middle of a heat wave. He didn't want his driver or me to call his driver to assist me, which I found odd because he had a station wagon, so as one of his cars. So I could have just easily put the boards in the back of the station wagon and drive to 23rd Street with the driver. But he wanted me to walk with no assistance. I guess he wanted me out the office. That day, I don't know, but he wanted me to walk from 16th Street to 23rd Street, back and forth, until all the boards were in the 23rd Street location. And when he first said it to me, I was like, "That I'm sorry, I cannot do that." And he grew angry. I used to call him a troll under the bridge because he was only like 5'3" and he had a mohawk and it was green or whatever it was. And whenever he would get mad, he would do this little dance like a troll. So he wanted me to move them, and I adamantly refused. I was like, that's not in my job description. I'm here to do administrative work, not manual labor. And he got offended when I said that. And I knew once he got offended because he didn't say anything more after I said that. He said, "Okay, then go back to your administrative duties." And I did. And I knew something was wrong because throughout the rest of the day, he did not communicate with me. He communicated with other people in the office to communicate with me with the things that he needed, or for me to notify him when his driver was available and where he needed to go for a meeting on that day. And the very next day, first thing in the morning at 9 o'clock, we're in the office and I'm fired for not doing what I was told to do from my boss. But yet, majority of your employees are on crystal meth. And I was fired. Crystal meth is a drug that seems to be very rampant in the gay community. I'm not going to lie, it does enhance the sexual pleasure, but what drug doesn't? However, the way people are on it and act on it is the problem. For one, they're very greedy and they're only in it for themselves. They all look like Skeletor or some type of zombie, and sunken faces and very thin and pale and not well kept up as far as hygiene goes. But yet, sex is amazing when I did get it, but most of the time I didn't. And at the meetings, people would always say that they were chasing the high. I wasn't chasing the high, I was chasing the experience that everyone at the meetings was having, or everyone that I was actually meeting while high were saying to me. Oh, they had a gangbang, or they had an orgy, or they had a threesome, or they got fucked so good, and they went here and they did this and they did that and got 13 nuts in one night. And I'm like, I've only had one, and that's the most I've ever had. And every time that I try to hook up with people, I mean, it's not like you didn't know what I look like because you saw my pictures, and in fact, I look better than what I did in my pictures. But nobody would touch me, and we would just sit there and watch porn, and they would be on their phones and cleaning or being distracted and not into me. And to me, it got to the point where it's like, why am I here? What am I doing? But again, I was chasing the fantasy because to me, it was all like a porno where I was trying to create and it never came through. I, 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 I had to stop because it essentially was destroying my life, chasing something that isn't really worth it, like my adult entertainment career, or in the police department, or looking for a job, or looking for a lover, or a friend. I was friends with crackheads and addicts and people who I would never have associated with, but because I'm so lonely, I have to accept anyone that's willing to engage with me. But even them, they turn their backs on me. I don't get it. I don't understand what the issue is with me. Oh, everyone wants to say, it's me, 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 me. Well, this is my life, so it has to be about me, 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 me. And all of these things that have happened to me were all about me, 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 me. I just don't know why it's all about me, 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 me. And that's what's really like fucking up my mind. Because I'm one of the nicest people you would ever meet. And very loyal, as I said in the previous episode of my life. It's I I was in the army, for Christ's sakes. I was a porn star and famous. I had hundreds of thousands of fans and red carpet openings, and yet people still don't like me. I have not had sex since 2012. That's a long time for a gay man. And I'm convinced now that because at my age of 50 and going through all these health ailments, I don't have a desire to have sex anymore. And that's the sad part. And I think because I don't have the desire to have sex anymore, the desire to be with someone is not going to happen either. But I was always optimistic and I always looked out for or wanted the best, but the best never came. And perhaps God's plan is not over yet. I'm supposed to go through this torture and this pain, but how much and for how long? When will it stop? And when it stops, will my husband come into play? I think it should be the other way around, where my husband or partner would be very supportive with me going through all these issues because we're together as one, and it wouldn't be so hard on me because I'm dealing with it by myself. But it also shows my resiliency and my strength. But what good is my strength if it's just one problem after the other or one issue after the other? Now, I've only gotten to the part where on the day that I'm leaving to personal training in my series, Mylife. And everything else I've just blurted in because it's actually happening to me right now. And I needed to say the things that were going on in my life and continue to happen in my life. But I will start, I don't know how much longer I'm here, so I'm going to try to get as much information as possible out there on this video. And hopefully somebody will find it. And as I said, that $50,000 in my life insurance will go to someone who can actually bring my story to life and let my voice finally be heard. For once. Whoever that is, or whoever can get through the computer password and the phone password, because all of the documents, all of the videos, all of the podcasts and chapters and notes, they're all on my phone and on my computer. Moreover, this series, My Life, has been very eye-opening, no pun intended, but very eye-opening for me because it's allowing me to actually see how bad my life has really been. And there's still no love there. There's still no love. Oh, people are going to say, how come you don't love yourself? How can I love something that's never been loved? Or in love? It's that simple. I thought my beauty people would come to me and be all over me and want to be with me, and I would be somebody's arm candy, and like other people in the adult entertainment industry do. But that didn't happen either. I remember I was in a bar called The Hangar on Christopher Street. I stopped going there. I don't even remember the last time I went there, but I stopped going there because I would go there for years. Years. Since I was 15 years old. I was drinking at 15. And the doorman would not let me in because I was 15. But he assured me if I kept getting A's on my report card, he would give me a drink. So every A that I showed him, I got a drink. And then when I turned 18, I actually started to go into the bar and mingle and stuff like that. It was nice to see people and be around people who were like me, but I was always that one standing in the corner or sitting at the end of the bar by myself and no one coming up to talk to me. People staring at me, people talking about me, and people saying how cute I am and how sexy I am, but no one actually spoke to me. you know, then what really bothered me was that whenever my birthday would come, seeing that I would pour like $200, $300 a week in this bar because I would go there every week. And I would pour so much money into them, and they couldn't even give me a free drink for my birthday. And then what hurt me really more was that they saw my transition from, being really thin to being very muscular and also becoming an adult entertainer, which most go-go boys are. Now, I've danced at every bar in Christopher Street except the Hangar, and that really disturbed me because it's been the same owners since I was 15. And to me, it's very personal to me because you bring people up there that don't even know how to dance. And here I am with a beautiful body and famous, likely to get a lot of attention to your venue, but yet you wouldn't hire me to dance. And I continue to give you money for drinks and continue to support your establishment. So I had to stop going. It was very disrespectful on their part. I don't remember the last time I went there. It's been so long. I'm more than certain they would not recognize me anymore anyway. No one recognizes me anymore. No one even sees my eye like this. Because I go out and I walk the dog, and as I said, I care about more about the dog than I care about myself. And they didn't see that during the adoption process and wanted to take Bingo away from me. And that's in a past episode of my life as well. My life doesn't matter. What am I here for? What's my purpose? There's nothing here. Nothing to do. No one to love. No one to talk to. No one to appreciate me. No one to support me. No one to influence me or inspire me or help me with my platform. I was really intrigued and excited about Gaytopix because there is nothing out here like this. And I think it needs to be brought to the forefront, and gay culture is a part of our society, and it needs to be brought to the forefront and paid attention to. Gay celebrities are celebrities too. And as the years go on, more and more are coming out the closet, and not enough is being said about them. I would love to have something scrolling down the bottom of my screen, or at least a mirror wall so I can show you the pictures or videos of what I'm speaking of. Or even during this segment of my series, My Life, I would love to show you visualizations or dramatizations of what it is that or reenactments of what it is that I had gone through. Because when you see things visually, it stimulates the brain and emotions, and people understand more clearly as opposed to just hearing it. But I can only do what I can only do, and this is what I've done, and it's not the best, but it's something. But unfortunately, this has to end too because I cannot report without reading, researching, investigating, going undercover, searching for the story, trying to find the authenticity of the story and quoting celebrities and, you know, reporting live on the streets as a correspondent and anchoring the talk show. It's because I can't read from the prompter and I can't look at a computer because it's so burning my eyes. I just, I can't even do this. Everything that I do in life is a failure. And I started with so much motivation and energy and excitement and intriguement, but when things don't run accordingly, I get to that point where it's like, I'm tired now because I'm not going to waste my time yet again. I've wasted so many years trying to do something that I was so proud of and reach those goals and aspirations for so many years only to fail or not given the opportunity or chance to prove myself. So, like my body, I, I, I work so many hours in the gym. I worked out so many hours in the gym. So, seeing that I lived in the gym, I might as well work in the gym. And I did that. As I said, I worked at essentially every gym in New York City, and I made my body perfected, or I should say, I perfected my body into this Greek like structure. And it, my best attribute at the time was my chest, and it was so big and broad and hard, and nothing can take me down. And I remember running so fast. I would run 7.2 on the treadmill at a 3.5 incline for 10 minutes every day, which will come out to 4.5 miles a day. So you do 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, plus 5, about 28 miles a week. And I did that for so many years because I was anticipating starring in a new movie or landing the cover of a magazine again and having a photo shoot again or acting in a new movie or being the face of a brand or Andrew Christian model or being the cover of a calendar. I remember once I was Mr. January. I forget what year it was, but I was Mr. January for Poppy Thugs. And I was really proud of that accomplishment because it's the first time that I was actually on print. But at what cost was it? I just, no one really loved me or accepted me. And this all spanned from my childhood, which is why I started from my childhood. Again, I left off at the very day that I'm going away to the military. I left off on that day because that day is very significant to me, and shit happened, and I wanted to be as transparent and forthright as possible, so I held off on it. Moreover, I had way too many episodes of my childhood, so I wanted to cut, you know, as a season. So season 1 of my life is over. So please stay tuned for season 2. If I am alive, I hope to bring season 2 very soon and move on to season 3, but I cannot move on with Gaytopix. I cannot be a reporter or a correspondent out on the street when I can't see. I also can't write because I can't see. So I can't write the story to post the story. So it's very difficult right now. So I have to end my series. I did not want to end my series, Gaytopix, like this. Because I thought I would last at least 10 seasons, or someone would notice me on YouTube and end up picking me up on network television. Because again, there's nothing like this. And even the celebrities themselves are engaging with me. People may look at my page and like, oh, you have such little followers, but I'm not following anyone. That's number one. Number two, that little followers that I have does not stop me from reaching the actual celebrity. I know what I'm doing and I know how to reach the celebrities. And to me, when they respond, it makes me know that I'm doing my job right and as a trusted, reliable source of information. And I'm very honored to have that title because I take my journalism seriously and I would love to pursue it more, but at this present time, I can't. So I have to relinquish my duties as host and anchor. But I can talk to you and tell you about my life with my eyes closed. That's not hard to do. And I don't need a script to do that because this is all raw, unedited footage. This is my life. These are real life stories, real life events that happened to me as a gay man, living as a gay man. From the early days as people sending love letters in the mail or Valentine's, and calligraphy notes in the office and flowers being sent to the office, to pagers, to payphones, to cell phones, to texting, to instant messaging. That's literally generations of life. And there's so much to say and so much to entail because the progression is so long and it's a long period of time. And so much has happened in that span of time. Like, I remember the train being $1. It's $2.75 now. I remember it being $1. I remember a pack of cigarettes being $1.50. I remember Atari. I remember seeing E.T. in the movie theater. I remember seeing Jaws in the movie theater. I remember being so scared of Michael Myers and Freddy as a kid. We never did Halloween as a kid. So we never got dressed up or got candy. And then the years that she did do it, my mother did allow us to do it. We didn't have any costumes. And the costumes that we did have, like I did on my birthdays, I would essentially make them. They weren't perfect, because I was only a kid, but I did what I could just so I can go out and get some candy. And she probably did that maybe like 3 times I can recollect as a child going trick-or-treating. I don't ever recall leaving that room. I don't ever recall leaving that room. Aside from when ACS took us away. It was called BCW at the time, Bureau Child Welfare. It's called ACS now, Associated for Children's Services. But being taken away, and my brothers and screaming and crying and not, they're pulling us away from home, not knowing what our fate would be, only to go to grandma's house. And we go to grandma's house, and grandma sends us right back home to no food in the refrigerator. Back to that room, stuck there all day long. Like I am now. I walk my dog blind, but I know where I'm going because my Apple Watch tells me the steps that I'm taking. So I know how many steps it is to get to the corner. So that hasn't been very difficult. I actually thought it would be a lot more difficult, but I find me being in the house is more strenuous on my eyes than it is outside. But when the sun, like it was today, when the sun is blaring, it is very painful. Again, this whole situation that I thought was a stroke, perhaps maybe it is a stroke, I don't know, but it left me blind, and I'm blind and I can't see, and my body is failing, and all I keep hearing in my head over and over and over and over again is that last scene in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, where Joan Crawford is on the beach with Betty, and she's dancing around, and she's telling Betty, Jane, I'm dying. Jane, I'm dying. And those words keep flowing through my head, and it's like, I'm dying, but it's taking forever, and how much more pain do I have to endure for me to finally be at peace with myself and my body and my mind? But do all these things that are happening to me, does that make me have a mental illness? No. I'm not depressed. I'm not suicidal. I'm not crazy. I'm just tired of dealing with the bullshit. Tired of dealing with the fakes and the phonies and the people who befriend you and are only out for themselves and want to hurt you. Those are the people who need mental help and therapy, not me. I'm tired of being victimized in that way. Like every time somebody does something to me, I have to change my life around so they can accept it. That's not how life is supposed to work, or be. We're all supposed to live in this sovereign country like Ukraine together. You're not supposed to come in here and tell me what I should do and what I shouldn't do, what I should say and what I shouldn't say, or how I should live and how I shouldn't live. Especially when I'm old enough to be your father. It's very... it gets on my nerves to the point where I just want to bash somebody's head in, but I'm not that type of person to be violent like that. And it will take a lot for me to get violent. Even as much as I have encountered in my lifetime over the years in which I've told you in this series, My Life, I have never been violent. Never. Again, I've seen death firsthand. I know what death is. I know how to kill somebody. I know how to kill, enemies. I know how to fight because I grew up in a ghetto and I fought in a war. So I know how to do things the right way, but it's not in my character to do that. I'm a Libra. Libras are the only sign in the horoscope that's about love and wanting to find tranquility and balance. But because we're trying to find and balance the scales, we often come or are often seen as confused or, you know, aloof, people not knowing what we're saying or understanding what we're saying. Because again, we're off balance and we're trying to find the balance and harmony to find tranquility. But in that statement alone says a lot, because there is no violence in finding tranquility. You know, people have been violent to me. I hate to say it, they're a bunch of pussies, because when I had my body and all my muscles, no one would step to me or even want to engage in an argument or a fight. But now that they're gone, people want to show off, like they're big and bad, and, I'm better than you, and fuck you, and faggot this, and bitch that, and pussy this. And now you got all these words to say, but when I had my muscles, you didn't say a single word. Funny how that works, huh? Anyway, yet another story about my life. They keep going, and I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going until I can't no more. And like I said, whoever finds this computer will be amazed by what they see and hear, because no one knows anything about me or what I've been through. And this should become a movie or a mini series. With that said, I'm your host, Kenny Cruz, and this has been Gaytopix, My Life. Please stay tuned for the next episode.